In the Northern Territory, it's a case of too many jobs and not enough skilled workers. Northern Territory business leaders say we'll need to look overseas to fill the skills shortage. A delegation from the Territory is on its way to Ireland and the UK hunting for workers. But not everyone agrees that overseas workers are the answer.
What we're going to see here is a massive expansion of our economy. This gives Darwin a real opportunity to cement hundreds of millions of dollars of work over the next 40 years.
Across Northern Australia, business is booming, driven by the resources sector. And it's a situation that's stretching the Territory's labour supply to the limit.
With the projects that we have and the size of the projects that we have, we do not have enough skilled people.
5,000 apprentices and trainees across the Territory are in training, preparing to take advantage of the boom. There'll be another 5,000 within the next 2 years.
Looking at the paper, there's crazy amounts of jobs out there, just looking anywhere, all through the NT, all over Australia. Yeah, so I don't reckon I'll struggle with getting a job.
And probably a pretty well paid one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Big crowbar there.
Yeah, hang on.
16-year-old Connor REID is finishing a 3-year apprenticeship as a heavy diesel mechanic. He says the resources sector is going gangbusters.
It's great, it's great pay as well. I know everyone goes out there to sort of set their lives up, so I'd probably consider that as another job in the future.
One of the biggest projects on the horizon is the multi-billion-dollar INPEX gas plant. Gas will be piped 800 kilometres from the Ichthys field off Western Australia to Darwin Harbour. Building the plant and pipeline will require more than 2,000 people.
Labour resources across Australia are limited. There will be a large, highly skilled workforce required for the construction of this project over its 5-year construction period.
The Territory Government hopes to capitalise on this project by developing a marine supply base to turn the city into North Australia's oil and gas support hub.
All of these offshore platforms need engineers, need production supervisors, need operators, need trade skills.
The labour shortage isn't an issue limited to the Territory. Across Australia, skilled workers are at a premium.
By the time INPEX gets up and running in the Northern Territory, Western Australia is already up and running with their Gorgon project. The Queensland coalfield programs are about to start. They're going to be building 2 LNG plants in Gladstone at the same time that INPEX starts to look at building a plant here in the Northern Territory. Therefore, a lot of the excess of capacity is already going to have been soaked up.
Even in the corporate disciplines, demand for chartered accountants, for example, at the moment, and senior IT staff is probably higher than it's ever been before as well.
Businesses are looking overseas to fill the gaps. In Western Australia, these East Timorese workers have been brought in to work in the pearl farming industry.
It's good for me, for my family and for my country. Can you get the top?
The Northern Territory is also seeking overseas workers.
Over the last few years, we have been recruiting internationally, going to hotspots in the world where we know that there are labour problems, where they have high unemployment.
Ceiling bag up.
Yeah.
Some of those foreign workers could come to the Territory under the 457 visa scheme, which allows businesses to bring in overseas employees to fill vacant positions. The Territory Government is looking at negotiating regional migration agreements, which could streamline the process.
We hope to be the first place in Australia to have a regional migration agreement up and running, and that'll be open up to all sectors within our community to access, from semi-skilled workers, service workers, or to your traditional trades.
Aerosales is one Darwin business already going abroad to fill jobs. South African CECILIA de Silva arrived here on a 457 visa. She says her decision to move her family to the Northern Territory was an easy one because of the unemployment problems in her hometown of Johannesburg.
If you don't study, if you don't have people knowing people in companies, or you have your own company for your children to work in, the chances of them finding work are very minimal.
But Aerosale's owner James Taylor says bringing workers here on 457 visas is no easy process because of the English test they have to pass.
It's a lot more difficult than you would think. In fact, I think half the people who work on a construction site or in the manufacturing industry would really struggle to actually get a satisfactory pass.
James Taylor's concerned when bigger projects come online, he could lose some of his workforce.
They're going to be taking people out of our existing workforce, and there is no one else around to replace them. So I think we'll probably have to look overseas again for more workers.
I think personally the biggest impact's going to be felt with the small and medium-sized companies in Darwin that won't be able to compete with the salaries and conditions that the INPEX project and their contractors can offer.
Not everyone is happy with the idea of bringing in foreign workers.
Some employers will turn around and actually hire 457s at a significantly less pay rate than they were offering an Australian worker doing exactly the same job.
Unions argue the answer to the labour shortage lies closer to home.
For example, Tasmania is currently running at 9.9%, almost 10% unemployment. We need to make the Northern Territory attractive, and those businesses need to work on how to make the Territory attractive to bring those unemployed workers up here.
It is the last option available. We want people to use local workers here when we take on apprentices and to access workers from interstate, but when that's all exhausted, we need to get workers in from overseas.